No, they got to be all belligerent and just. They teach you the cops to be belligerent, and they teach the cops to be intimidating. They teach them to be what they are. You know what I'm saying? They don't train them to be nice, and they train them for like warfare, pretty much.
Intimidation tactics,
Yeah.
threats and coercion.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Look,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't no Nature Boy fan, but the girl just come out with a video talking about how they set him up with the rape case. They always, when they don't have nothing to get you on, they always use some kind of sexual shit.
Right.
Because the allegation is more important than the actual event itself.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the allegation is the key and critical evidence of a rape. Right? So
Yeah.
they can convince you that somebody a cult leader and you ain't had no choice, and originally you was all in. Now you got buyer's regret because you've been questioned by the police.
Right. Dang, that's so true, bro. That's so true.
Yeah. I got 5%, Elder.
All
Maybe
right, man.
one more question, then we let it go.
Hey, we'll take one more question from the crowd. Y'all drop it in the chat. You want to show love, Rod, some love? We got his cash app dropped in the chat, y'all. Well, hey, give me a good one. It says in the building. What's your perspective? I don't see what he asking though. Say, what's your perspective?
It's a IUIC in the building. I don't know what that means.
Yeah. It says it's Big Mama Empress.
She's not physically here with us anymore. Empress
Right.
Verdiasi. She died destitute in a nursing home in California, which is a damn shame.
I think her daughter, Wendy Washington, they got passed to her. But there's more than one Empress on the land. Empress Wendy is the Empress, standing Empress of the Washita. Wendy Washington, which is her daughter.
Yeah. So we have a Big Mama ranking system by blood right heirs. And the only person that had the same birthright capability of reclaiming the allodial title was Empress Redbird. Otherwise, we would have had to find the next heir. So first, the red house, Empress Verdiasi was under the red house.
Yeah, man, and make it do what it do. Big Chief, appreciate you, man. Peace and blessings. How you doing?
Oh man, we're taking it easy, going with the flow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Listen, after that last one, man, the tribe been going crazy. I'm talking about the whole channel been going crazy about, that last conversation, man. So I told everybody, I'm gonna try to make it happen again as soon as possible. So, man, we here, we back, and I'm ready to get it in again, man. What you say?
I stay ready and get ready.
Yes, sir. That's what's up. So let me ask you this, because before we get deep into the topic at hand tonight, what would you consider to be an extraterrestrial experience? Like, have you had any that you, or what would you define that as? What would you classify that as in regards to your perspective?
A day-to-day experience.
I say.
Look, when they say extraterrestrial, right?
Mm-hmm.
That an experience that's extraterrestrial, meaning experience that's extra than what you've experienced before.
Yeah.
Right.
That's fact.
So if you think about it, all of your day-to-day movements is extraterrestrial movements. We flying through space at 1 billion miles an hour. It's all extraterrestrial.
That's facts. Yeah, that's deep. And since the last episode, I got a chance to do a little research on some of the topics that we was chopping it up on. And so I definitely want to get into a little bit of that. But I had an experience this past Saturday, man, which was nuts, because I was sitting at the in the living room on my sofa, and I had like a tray table up, and I was on the laptop doing a little work or whatever, and I smelled this fragrance come across my nose. And so when I smelled it, I knew it was something different. And because I don't believe I've ever smelled that fragrance before, but also I knew it was an extra terrestrial event within, you know, the comfort of my own home. Like, it was a presence that
It
was
could have
there.
been interdimensional.
Well, that's what I was getting to. I feel like it was, because check this out. I promise you, within 2 to 3 minutes after I had the fragrance come across my nose, and I spoke, you know, said, you know, I forgot what I said, but I spoke to it. And like 2 or 3 minutes later, an elder called me and was like, "Hey, you all right? You good? Everything straight?" He was like, "The ancestors told me to reach out, you know, to check on you." And bro, when I tell you, it blew my mind. Like, it blew my mind, because I'm like, yo, that's nuts. Like, I mean, within a 2 to 3 minutes, you know, timeline. So it was like, that's something that I've had multiple different types of experiences in regards to something that I felt like was extra, you know, terrestrial. It was different for sure. But with you, and I know you've had a lot of those experiences as well. We spoke about one or two earlier, I think either today or yesterday. But when it comes to something we tapped into but didn't go far down the rabbit hole with last show, is mushrooms and, like, what is it, DMTs or something along that line? Something like that, what they call it? Like,
Yeah.
how
Those
do you,
open up the channel for psychic experience.
I say, and that's what
It
I
ain't
was
that you don't have the channel, but for generations of not using the channel, the youth now is finding interest in the ancient ceremonies that opened you up to those experiences. Because once you bend your mind, once your mind been stretched to a certain limit, it can't go back. So if you have a DMT or a mushroom experience or a peyote experience, that stretched your mind beyond what you thought was your limits, and it can't go back. It can't go back to the state it was before, because now all of that information is within the confines of the mind. It's stretched. So they use the psychotropics to give alternative experiences in order for people's spiritual senses to reactivate.
mm, that's deep. Now, how does that relate to, like, the movie Doctor Strange and what they showed in that movie in regards to these experiences?
So Dr. Strange started off as a physician that was a savant,
Mm,
right? So he's already a genius intellectually. Now, when he goes to the lady that's the ancient, her job is to unlock his right hemisphere, abstract reasoning, to give him the wisdom to control the forces of magic. So it's really telling the story, the ancient story of Tahuti and Heka magic.
that's deep. And so, is that some sort of correlation to what we saw with Neo in the Matrix when he went to see the Oracle?
Yeah.
I sure.
The significance of the oracle that was talking to me, that's Big Mama. Right? Before we go do anything, we always consulted with the oracle. Just read the stories of the oracles of Delphi. Those are Egyptian priestesses that was operating in Greece. And they were the ones that penned the Greek language for the Greek people. And that's why their civilization was Hellenistic, because Helen was the name of the position of the priesthood that gave the culture to Rome. So she became the goddess Helen in Rome, in Greece. She usurped in Rome, because in Rome, Helen is a man. And this is your beheading of Medusa story. Medusa is a rank for the side priestesses. Medu meaning 10, meaning the highest rank, because she had to master all of the disciplines. So the Gorgons are the ones who was the three sisters, right? In the voodoo, we call them Oye, Yemiya, and Oshun, right? So they steal the three sisters, and they was fighting the war against the Roman invasion, and this is why they always paint them as grotesque, because they've drawn the rage out of the warrior woman. So all of those goddesses of ancient days, that they got those terrible looking images of, and they face all grotesque, because that's them in waging war on the patriarchy. when they was usurping the sacerdotal seat. Priest wars. Wizards versus witches.
Yes, sir. That's deep. That's real deep. I'm glad you said that. So now we talking about that. We hit on the last episode that America is the home to the oldest Isis temple in the world, right? So when it comes,
Arizona,
yes, sir.
Grand Canyon.
Okay, now with that being said, when it comes to that, right? I was doing some research, like I said, since the last call, and one of the things that I kind of stumbled upon that was a little new to me, or I just forgot it, refreshed my memory. But there's a crown that ISIS or Offset wears, right? And if I'm not mistaken, there's 7 cobras across the top, just like you will see the one cobra and the bird on the front of the pharaohs and the queens and the kings of Kemet's headdress. Do the 7 cobras or snakes or serpents represent the 7 continents of the globe? The 7 snakes that are on.
Those are the 7 sisters of the Pleiades. So when she put that on her headband, that means she's channeling those 7 wise ones, the Nagas queens in sevens, they 7 sisters. So when the chosen son come, he get baptized, he get blessed by 7 Marys. His birthright is secured by finding 7 Aunt Ruths. Because Ruth is the one who is the money pot. She's the one that need to be redeemed.
Yes, sir.
And we all got an Aunt Ruth in our family.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? I got 7 Aunt Ruths. I got 7 godmamas named Mary.
We about to go ahead, buddy.
Or some variant thereof. My first godmama, my big mama name was Mother Margaret.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And we just used to call her Big Mama.
Buckle up, tribe. Grab your bags. Save yourself first before the women and the children, because we're about to take off. All right. So now with that, when you said that, especially when you're talking about the money and the wealth, that is attributed to Oya. When you're talking about the Ifa, it's African church, spiritual traditions, right? And also, she's a deity who's attributed to the storms. She's attributed to transformation, birth and rebirth. Death to the old, birth to the new. You know what I mean? So, what Kemetic deity would be maybe the closest one that would kind of be, a parable to her or correlate to her energy, in the Ifa Isheshe tradition?
Those are concepts,
right?
In the Kemetic tradition, it would be Aset, Het Heru, and Het Hathor, or not Hathor because that's Het Heru, and Sekhmet.
I see.
Right. So they show you the image of Isis with 2 lions. The 2 lions represent Sekhmet and Het Heru. Het Heru is the female earth heir, and she's represented as the female cow. And so the cow's still sacred in India. And because they still got different renditions of the same idea, and the cow is the symbol that represents that idea of the matriarch, the mother with the udders. We call them big mamas with the big tatas, right? Because they used to suckle the world.
I see.
But when the orphans come in, some of them mamas couldn't suckle them, so they had to give them to the big mama. And some of them, that's where you get your wet nurse concept from. That's tribal. Because there used to be women in the community that used to take care of the children as similar to a daycare. And she would suckle the different children at different times. And she'd probably be 4, 5, 6, just like her in there, depending on how many children they got. That's where that whole idea come from. That's some tribal Mississippian backwoods shit.
Yeah, yeah. That's deep because I was watching. Shout out to the brother Billy Carson's Forbidden Knowledge. I was watching an interview he had maybe about 3 weeks ago. I think it was before you and I met and had our first interview. But he interviewed some people who were from the Palladian star system, and they said that they were the elders from the land of Mu, from Lemuria, and it was dope because they shared some sacred stones that were very powerful stones that were definitely from out of this world. And they were sharing like some of the stories about those stones and how powerful and significant they were in regards to, their home star system.
You got to look at, they already told us, but they told it to us in comic theatrics that's exaggerated. They told us about the vibranium, the, what's that stuff Wolverine got?
I can't remember the name of it, but that's what makes his that's what makes
anthemanium.
It makes it indestructible.
Right. Then when you go to the Avatar movies, you had the unobtainium. Right. They telling you that it's the gold the whole time, and that certain people's presence on the earth causes the earth to produce gold in its veins. Those are the golden ones.
That's deep. Now, let me ask you this. I just saw something earlier today, if I'm not mistaken, and it was regarding Trump and his efforts to, I guess there's some sort of, they're trying to transition back into the gold standard in regards to the currency. Have you heard anything about that? So can you
that's always been the plan, because the fiat system, it had a system of taxation on one end and inflation on the other end. So the only way to eliminate taxation and inflation is through tariffs and through by money that's backed by substance. Right? Adamantium, that's what Wolverine made out of. And so when a new system takes power, right? System that's founded on substance is the system that's going to last the longest. The American system was an interim government that was only had a 200-year contract that we didn't make, but people came over here and made on our behalf, like they had the right to speak up for us. And check out Young Elder tomorrow, because I'm going to be going over some receipts and I'm going to show y'all how they was doing the treaties. And I say that we didn't sign all them treaties. That's fraud. And by canceling the treaties, it cancels the contracts of the municipalities, what we call your city charters. The charters all trace back to London, England, by way of the Federal Reserve banking system.
Yeah, that's deep, because we kind of tapped in a little bit on that on the first one too, in regards to how that's connected to the papal and to the Vatican and all that stuff. So now I saw also, and I'm glad I thought about this, because this is something else I wanted to go through with you. I saw a lot of coverage regarding shout out to the brother Ibrahim Traore out of Burkina Faso. A lot of coverage between him and Putin, and Putin invited him to I forgot the name of their day, but that day they just had recently in Russia. Where do you see that in regards to the shift in powers, especially when it comes to allies and enemies with the West? Where do you see that position in Burkina Faso with whatever that situation was with him and Putin?
Hey, hold on, my phone just went out. Let me go out and come back. I have to publicly acquiesce and bow to the New World. The people that was assigned from two sides of the ocean to bring this to a close is the one who came up from the dirt in Russia, who y'all call Vladimir Putin. And the rich boy that came up in America, y'all call him Donald Trump, Agent Orange. So this show collaboration of two sides of the ocean, the two pillars of the earth, representing the two superpowers, the superpowers that was at Cold War with each other for 70 years. The same superpowers that generated the most high-tech espionage networks in the world. The same two superpowers that gave each other technology that produced the atomic bomb and other technological advances between the two nations. Right? So the fallacy of Russia and America being enemies when Russia was the only ones that sent support to the natives of the land when they seized Alaska from the French and the Spaniards that was attacking us on the west, that decimated the Caliphate Queens. Right? Her castle used to sit where Alcatraz at. They bombed it into oblivion with the Spanish Armada. And then they wrote the fictional tales of the encounter with the Amazonian women, which is another story for the Caliphate Queens, because they ruled all the way from California to the Amazon going around south. And the women used to go there to do women's retreat rituals for cleansing and healing, like after childbirth, after relationship breakups or a person died. They used to go to the Caliphate Queens for healing, spiritual healing, right? And the men would be on the mainland and they protected the castle from the mainland. But they hadn't experienced no shit like that Spanish Armada, right? They built a replica because they got to give us a means to discover what they did. So they had to build a replica of the Caliphate Castle. And you see it every time you watch a Disney movie. The replica of the Caliphate Queen's Castle. And women used to come from all over the